And we are live. Wait a couple minutes here for people to pile into the stream and see the BBM channels post. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Berry Report podcast. This is the Berry Report podcast, episode 75 for Thursday, January 11th, 2018. Been so busy this week, don't know what date it is. I do know tomorrow's the 12th, so that's what kind of helped me, because the BlackBerry Motion launches of GS unlocked versions will become available on the 12th here in the US. So from Amazon and Best Buy. So speaking of that, if you guys are tuning in, make sure you check out the after this. There's going to be a show after this podcast, same place, same YouTube channel, same YouTuber. It is the BlackBerry Motion launch Eve event. So pretty much going to be kind of a recap and list of things or things that I like about the BlackBerry Motion. Kind of go over my, I guess, on-air review. I'm still working on my written review, but I guess the on-air review is coming up this today. So hope everybody had a fantastic holiday break. We were gone for 2 weeks. We did episode 2 weeks ago, I believe. Actually, 3 weeks. Yeah. Last week, I wasn't going to do a show, but it was kind of a short week and kind of threw everything off. So, was kind of getting back into the workflow and everything. So, yeah. So 3 weeks ago, we did our last podcast. A lot of the things happened since then, which is great for this episode because it'll give us lots to talk about. But, might be some boring for you guys because some not a lot of device stuff, but we'll get to that stuff later. So thank you guys for tuning in. For those who are not yet here, I'm sure you'll be here. For those that are listening to us on the Berry Report podcast audio version via your favorite podcast listening app, want to thank you guys for tuning in that way as well on your drive to work or wherever you're going, or if you're in your office. That's where I like to listen to my podcasts, right here in my office, or sometimes I like to listen to them as I'm falling asleep. But it's not always a great thing because when I fall asleep, the episodes keep playing. I have to find a timer, and I also have to find a good podcast listening app. I tried using Google Play Music this week, and not a big fan of it. As far as it works well, my only gripe with Google Play Music podcast services is that I haven't figured out. Maybe it's there, and I just haven't figured it out yet. But I haven't figured out how to create like a playlist. So usually when I'm listening to podcasts, it's on long road trips or such, or if I know I have to be somewhere that's far away, I'll just queue up a ton of podcasts and just let them play as I'm driving. And I haven't figured out how to do that with Google Play Music. If you know how to do it, let me know. That'd be greatly appreciated. If there is no way, then I'll just stick to the podcast app that I've been using, which is Pocket Cast on Android. Pocket Cast is great because it has an Android app, it has a iOS, it has a web player app, so you can download that or access it via the web, and it's available pretty much everywhere besides BlackBerry 10, but you can port the sideload BlackBerry 10 app onto your BlackBerry 10 device, and it still works. I've been using it well. Actually, on BlackBerry 10, I use a different podcast app, but since I've become more open to more devices, I'm starting to use. I've been using podcasts a lot, so hopefully everybody got good gifts and everything for the holidays. I actually got some cool gifts. First cool gift was the girlfriend got me a anti-theft backpack. I've been needing a new backpack. Backpack is my way of traveling through with all my stuff, and I unfortunately I tend to carry a lot of stuff in my backpacks. It's mostly all phone stuff. It's I carry. You would think that I'm going away for days with the amount of stuff I have in there, electronics in there at least. I have usually a MacBook or my MacBook. I have a tablet of some sort, sometimes 2 tablets. I also have a handful. I've been known to carry around a handful of BlackBerry devices or phones for that matter, and my Switch, my Nintendo Switch. If you have a Nintendo Switch, rock on. It's a great device, and maybe a book or something. Or I also have my repair kit in there. This is my repair kit for anybody. Definitely go check these out on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. But if you repair phones or work on anything electronic wise, it's a great kit to have. But anyways, got So she got me an anti-theft backpack, which is great. It's very sleek. It's in the closet. It's over there somewhere. It's buried under a bunch of stuff that I just pushed aside. um, but it's great, sleek. It hides the zippers, so if somebody is walking behind you, they're gonna have a tough time figuring out where those zippers are unless they kind of get underneath the straps. Which by then you should feel that. If you don't, might want to check your pulse. But it also has, it's geared for airport security, so you can put your computer in there and such. The only kind of thing that I was kind of also has a charger port. It comes with a charge cable and a port on the side of the backpack, so you can actually plug it into a what do you call them, a power pack and charge your device. And so it's got a USB, so you can use whatever cable you want to use. I just keep a micro USB-C cable in there. Although I got to change that one out because it's a very long cable and don't really need that long. But anyways, the only downside with this backpack that I had to kind of adjust to, I'm still kind of adjusting to it, is it has a not as many pockets as my original one did. So I had a Samsonite, I believe, or a Swiss Army backpack, one of those two. And they had tons of pockets, so I could pile a bunch of things in there. Usually would lose things in there, of course, but um, this one actually has a sleeve for your laptop, a smaller sleeve for, like, I use it for tablets, and then a little zipper pouch, which I put some chargers in there, some bricks and cords and such, and then it's got two other pockets in there. One's kind of a slight little pouch, I guess. They're both pouches. One's bigger than the other. So I kind of had to dial back on the amount of phones that I carry around normally. And this is pretty much just to work and such. So I kind of convinced myself I don't need these many phones. So I used to carry around a ton of BlackBerry 10 devices, and my whatever Android BlackBerry device I was carrying around with me, I've been carrying around the Motion and the KEYone and the Priv, actually, for that matter. And you have to remember, device like the Passport takes up a lot of room. So the Passport is kind of a big device. And whatever device I'm carrying with me as well. So I kind of had to scale back a little bit, not carry around as many BlackBerry 10 devices. I actually just have one with me normally. It's been the Classic lately, for anybody wondering. And my KEYone, my Motion, and my Priv, and an iPhone and a Galaxy S7, because I need to have competition with me just so I can compare the other devices. So but yeah, so that was my first cool gift. The second cool gift was the Google Home. I don't know if you'll be able see. I'm gonna plug it here. This guy is a Google Home. It's a voice assistant. I actually also have a Amazon Echo, or Alexa, pretty much, and she's gonna go off. I'll keep that unplugged right now so it doesn't go off as well. But I got a Google Home. I actually like Google Home a little bit better than the Echo. Now the Echo I have is just the Dot. I don't have the tall one. I just have the Echo Dot right now. But the Google Home that I have here works very well. I've asked it a ton of questions. Some of them that the Echo Dot doesn't pick up, but the Google Home does pick up. And it syncs well just in the Google ecosystem. So since I've been kind of diving more into the Google ecosystem with BlackBerry devices now going Android, it really syncs up well with a lot of things, and I can make phone calls from it. I can search. I can set alarms and timers and such. So really cool device. Definitely recommend getting one if you have, especially if you're in an Android ecosystem. Go out and purchase one. They're pretty cheap. You can also get the Google Home Minis. They've been fluctuating between like $30 to $50, and I think over in the UK, I don't know if this deal is still going on, but last I read, there was a deal for a Google Home device and a pack of Hue smart lights for about 160 pounds or so. You have to double check that, but cool deals like that come out. So cool things there. Hopefully you guys got a lot of cool things for the holidays. And had a good time with your family and friends. Hopefully you guys had a great start to the new year as well. But yeah, it's a big week for BlackBerry. A lot of big news. This is actually CES week. I believe today's the last big day for the event. I unfortunately was not there. I have not been to CES in all my years of covering BlackBerry or tech. I kind of made internal goal of mine to get there next year, but I do say that every year and I never make it. So usually busy with work. So, but hopefully next year we can get there. It'd be cool to have, especially since BlackBerry Mobile and TCL are having more of a presence there. Also, BlackBerry's has a presence there as well. To that show, CES and Mobile World Congress are the two that I've never been to. I've been to a ton of BlackBerry events when they used to call them WES and BlackBerry Live, and I forget what was the name it was before BlackBerry Live, but I think WES was, and then they went BlackBerry Live. But anyways, on to this week's news. Like I said, there's a ton of news, so I might stick with the top list I have here, and I might cut some things out. I'll put all the stories that I'm pulling from in the description below. If you ever just want to look them up, they're there. Also, before I continue, do you also want to mention again, tonight is the launch eve of the BlackBerry Motion GSM unlocked devices here in the US. They're becoming available, I believe, somewhere at midnight. We did this last time for the KEYone. There was kind of a issue with purchasing them. Some of them went available before midnight hit, and then some of them went available after midnight. But this should be a little bit easier because it's just one SKU pretty much on Best Buy and Amazon. It's just the GSM unlocked versions. It's not the GSM unlocked and CDMA version. So hopefully this time it'll go a little smoother. We'll be on that podcast right after this podcast ends. Hopefully it should start around 11. So if you're watching now, stick around for about an hour and a half, and you'll be with us. That is if this podcast ends right around 11. Hopefully we get through this a little bit quickly so I can take a little break and then get ready for that show. But if not, we'll just go right into that podcast. What's going on, Andy? Andy Courtney is in the BerryReporter live chat. So for anybody who's interested in joining us live, we have a live chat going. Folks can ask questions, chat away with each other, and such like that. So thank you for tuning in, Andy. Hope you enjoy the show. If you missed anything, we do have an audio version. You can always listen back to the show later on. But so first things first. And now that I'm pulling a lot of these stories from since we've been gone. So we've been, like I said, 3 weeks. So some of these stories are 3 weeks ago. If you don't remember them, again, click the link after the video posts. Right now the links aren't there, but after the show ends, you'll see the links. So if you're also listening to us live on audio podcasts, you should see the links in there. I do put them in the show description there, but I don't know if certain podcast apps pick them up. But we'll go. So BlackBerry Radar was actually picked up recently by BigRoad Load-Ups, which is a fleet company. The company, the big name company, is the Fleet Complete company. They purchased BlackBerry Radar devices for its BigRoad freight program. And so they're taking full advantage of the BlackBerry Radar program, which is great news for BlackBerry. The BlackBerry Radar has really taken off. It is pretty much what BlackBerry Radar is. It's a data-driven solution that will provide real-time information, such as where the vehicle is, the route that the vehicle is going, or the truck's going, mileage, temperature of the cabin, humidity, door status, cargo load state, and pretty much all in one little dashboard, which is great. This is great for trucking companies out there that just want to know where their cargo is. If you imagine just a trucking company anywhere, for that matter, you're shipping tons of things for different clients and such. You want to know where that cargo is. So BlackBerry Radar is a great technology to help do that. It's a secure way of doing it as well, thanks to BlackBerry technology. And it also collects 100 times more data than your average GPS tracking device. So, which is great for them. So big props for BlackBerry Radar getting that. We also have the BlackBerry Q3 fiscal year 2018 highlights come through. And BlackBerry is making money. They're really well. Their financial results came in really well. Their total company revenue is $235 million. non-GAAP and 226 million GAAP. Their margin, they've recorded the record margin for them, or gross margin for them, is 77% non-GAAP and then 74% GAAP. So that breaks the record for last quarter, which is great. Operation income is 16 million, and operation loss is 258 million. So it's been a great quarter for BlackBerry. If you've been paying attention to their stock here in the U.S. And probably around the world too, I pay attention in the U.S., but their stock has been going up every day, pretty much. Actually, I'll tell you what it is here, live on the air. I think I have my stock app here. Yep. Come on. Exciting times here on the podcast. For anybody listening to this, you probably won't hear it because I'll edit it out. But where is my stock? Goes to show you that I don't know how to use my phone. Just kidding. I know how to use this phone. Saying TV. This app usually tells me. Oh, there it is. So it's up $13.45. So that's pretty good for BlackBerry. They've been, like I said, they've been on the up, rising up in stock price. I believe that's actually at 14 yesterday, so it's a little bit lower, but still above 10, which is always great. You have to think this company had they had crazy stock prices back in the day, and they dived down when the company wasn't doing well. Now they're doing well again. That stock price is coming right back up. So it was a great quarter, great Q3 for BlackBerry. They had a ton of great agreements and partnerships that they announced. With strategic partner expansions with Qualcomm. They licensed patent license agreement with Teltree. They also announced a partnership with Denso and such. And anything else there? Yeah, pretty much. So great news for BlackBerry stock in the Q3 results. Also, if you're a BlackBerry 10 user who is still using Black as their Twitter application, I still use it on my BlackBerry 10 devices. Not all of them, but I had to go due to the whole BBM fiasco. I had to create new BlackBerry IDs for pretty much all my BlackBerry 10 devices. I ran out of BlackBerry 10 device or BBU ID, so I had to create a new one. First time I ever created a new BlackBerry ID in years. But anyways, I load up Black on most of them, or the ones that I normally carry with me throughout the day, because it's still my favorite Twitter application, even compared to Android applications or Android Twitter applications. So this update came through on BlackBerry 10 devices. The update was pretty much to bring support for the new 280 character limit that Twitter recently just rolled out in their native Twitter app. Also, translations have been updated, so great to see Black is still updating their application. Like I said, I still love using Black on my BlackBerry. I really wish that app would come over to Android, but there's a ton of Twitter applications out there that I don't know if it would be worth it. I know it would be worth it for us, but I don't know if it'd be worth it for the developer to do so, because of the fact that there are so many Twitter applications out there that it might be just a fish in a pond with other fishes. So but great to see that app coming through with updates. If you haven't gotten the update yet, you probably haven't checked BlackBerry World BlackBerry World yet recently. So go ahead and check that out. And yeah, great application. If you don't use it, go Go get it. It has a price to it. I think it's like $2, $3. Well worth it though. It's probably one of the cleanest Twitter applications out there. So great news. Um, Also, over the past 3 weeks, the kind folks at Apple admit to slowing down older iPhone models to provide better battery life on their iPhones. This is just a fun fiasco. I really hated the fact that I didn't do a podcast that week because of the fact that this story came out when it did. And I know the folks over at UTB blog had a little discussion about this. It was a fun discussion for them to listen to. But this is just a fantastic story for anybody who, I don't want to say I hate Apple because I don't hate Apple. I just don't like their products as much. I mean, granted, I am recording this via my iMac. I use my MacBook and for blogging on the go, but and I do have an iPhone 6s in my nightstand over there. But they're pretty much either there because I like the way they do things. Like MacBooks and iMacs, they have great editing software that I still use to this day for videos and such. And the iPhone is just there for pretty much comparison and the work purposes. If I need the phone for work, for tech support and such. So that is pretty much the reason why I have those toys. But to see this story come through for me who isn't big on Apple, and it's something that I've known that they've done for years. I know they've been doing this for years, and I know that they've been slowing down devices. You can tell if you have an older device, if you have an older iPhone, and you have the latest software on it, your device runs slower or poorer or all the above. It's never a good experience. I've never seen someone have a great experience on a older iPhone device with newer software. And they've been doing this for years. They just never were it was never brought light to. People kind of mentioned it here and there on Twitter, on Reddit, or other forums or such like that, but no one kind of made a big fuss about it. And the media wasn't as hungry as it was back then, I want to say as well, because nowadays the media outlets are hungry to jump on stories as much as they can because they're striving to get as many stories as they can into viewers' eyes or in hands. But so pretty much what Apple stated is that they slow down the devices like the iPhone 6, 6s, and iPhone SE to smooth out the instantaneous peaks only when needed to prevent the device from unexpectedly shutting down during these conditions. So they also extended this feature to the iPhone 7, thanks to the latest iOS 11.2 update. And it plans on bringing this feature to other products. So as the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus and the iPhone 10 all start getting older or a year older, they're going to bring this feature to those devices as well. And so if they didn't do this, their iPhones would there's a chance that those iPhones would randomly shut down. And I know that these do this. My girlfriend has an iPhone, as I stated before. Her iPhone randomly shuts down when it gets to a certain point in her phone. Even if it's got like 10% battery life to it, it'll randomly shut down. Sometimes in the middle of a phone call, sometimes in the middle of sending an email or on Facebook or whatever she's doing. Or it'll slow down, or she can see the slowness. And she hasn't added, she's not out of storage, she's not, running any crazy applications on her phone. It just gets slow. And it's because of what Apple does to the iPhones. And I also love how they admitted that they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing this to your iPhone. If you're an iPhone user and you've been complaining about your iPhone has been slowing down and poor experience, it's because Apple is doing that to you. Apple is putting software onto your device to do that, to help you get either A, better battery life, or B, to make sure your battery actually keeps up with the software. And what does Apple do to rectify this situation? They allow people to they'll let people replace their batteries and only charge them $30 to do so. $30. Last I checked, Apple was a rich company. Billions of dollars, right? Apple had billions of dollars in the bank. They have selling tons of product left and right. Some good products, some bad products, some whatever, however you feel about it. And Apple does it. Oops, you guys figured out something that we haven't been telling you about. And Apple's way of fixing that or making up for it is to let you replace your battery instead of $50 or whatever they charge you. We're going to charge you $30. I'm pretty certain that they could afford a free battery replacement for your phone. Pretty certain those batteries don't cost them that much to do this with. It just, I don't know. Do you want a company that's like that? Or do you want a device from a company that's like that to know when something goes wrong that they've caused, their way of fixing it is charge you money to get it fixed still. If you think back to older iPhones, remember Antenna Gate? What did Apple tell you to do? Put a case on it. And they sent everybody out free bumper cases who had iPhones with that issue. Put a case on it. Here's a Band-Aid. Put it on it. And people kept using those phones. I have 2 devices here that have fantastic battery life, have the latest Android software. We'll be getting the latest Android software, or not the latest. They have the last year's Android software is on site to get the latest software update to Android O. And the battery life on these devices are fantastic. There's no slowdown. Maybe it's a great time for iPhone users to, it's a great time. BlackBerry Mobile is, and all these other companies, BBM Updates and Optiemus over in India, they're all bringing out these new BlackBerry devices, bringing back the BlackBerry devices, right? BlackBerry Mobile TCL started with the KEYone. We got the Aurora over in Indonesia. We got BlackBerry KEYone special editions over in India. Maybe it's a great time for iPhone users to rethink those BlackBerry devices that they all came from, or most of them came from. There's a ton of iPhone users out there that all came from a device like this, the Curve, right? And that's because, we all know the story. BlackBerry didn't innovate enough. They didn't bring out new exciting products. But devices like these are new exciting products, especially the KEYone. Both of the Motion and the KEYone are great. We have more news coming down the pipeline and during the show in a minute here, or a few minutes after I get done my Apple rant. I think it's time for a lot of iPhone users to rethink their device of choice. And I know there's a lot of iPhone users that won't move from Apple because they're in the Apple ecosystem, right? They have Apple Watches, they have Apple TV, they have Apple computers, they have Apple everything. If Apple made a refrigerator, they would probably have one, right? So I get it. You're stuck in that ecosystem. Kind of hard to remove. You can still use an Android device inside that ecosystem. Not everything syncs up. Your Apple Watch won't sync with your Android device, but there's Android Wear watches that you can replace that Apple Watch with that are going to cost a lot less too. If you notice the latest iPhone or the Apple Watch, it's well in the $600, right? I have a LG Sport watch that is Android Wear, LTE capable. It's only $250. Works great. I can make phone calls, get all my notifications, such, check my heart rate, all that. But maybe it's time for a lot of iPhone users to switch over. I could be crazy, but I think it is. So there goes my Apple rant. If you have an iPhone, chuck it out the window. I say if it works for you, great. But I don't know how people can, no judging here, but I don't know how people can use a phone that a company admits to slowing down and admits that they'll continue to slow it down. And when they realize that you don't like their decision, it's still going to charge you $30 to replace your iPhone. But, like I said, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you or those things don't sit well with you, look at other devices. It's a great time to go shopping, even if you're not looking at BlackBerry Android devices. I hope you are. But if you're looking at Samsung, if you're looking at LG, if you're looking at Motorola, there's great devices out there. If you're looking at OnePlus, they have some great devices out there. You can put all your BlackBerry Hub applications and such on it. Make it look like a BlackBerry. I have a Galaxy 7 that runs pretty much all my BlackBerry devices on it. So a great time to go looking for new devices. Anyways, so another cool thing that happened this past 3 weeks, I think a few applications actually got updated. I know the productivity tab got updated, so now you can kind of choose what apps are inside of productivity tab. Another app that got updated was the BlackBerry launcher. Now you can use app shortcuts from your home screen, and they also fixed brought some minor enhancements and stability fixes into it. So really cool. BlackBerry launchers are working real well for me. And another kind of thing that I kind of want to throw over is during the holiday, I also put up right before the New Year, actually the day before, I put up my BlackBerry 2018 wish list. I think it's a great read, but that's just me. I'm being biased, I guess. Go check it out. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description after the show's over. And but go check it out. It's a great. I think it's a pretty good read. It kind of gives you an idea. I'll let you know what I think we'll see from BlackBerry this year. BlackBerry the company, TCL, BlackBerry devices, BBM. What else do I mention? BlackBerry Mobile, BBM Updates, Optiemus. And some of the stuff is already coming true. For BlackBerry Mobile, for instance, one of the things I said, 2018, we'll probably see a really quick release of the BlackBerry Motion in the US from BlackBerry Mobile TCL. And just a couple days ago, we got that. So, but yeah, it's a really good read. I think I've been told it's a good read. I know that there's an issue with the picture for some. I fixed that already, but yeah, go check it out if you haven't done so already. BlackBerry also announced a partnership with Baidu, Baidu. This is going to help accelerate connecting autonomous vehicles technology. So they're pretty much going to work together to bring connected autonomous vehicle technology quicker to the market. They're going to help both utilize BlackBerry QNX. They're also going to utilize some of Baidu's technology. So their CarLife technology, which is a leading smartphone integration software for connected cars in China. So they're going to help work together. And it's also going to work on their AI system, which is called Doer OS, which will help and high definition maps to run on BlackBerry QNX car infotainment platform. Really good news. Again, this was a big signing for BlackBerry, big partnership for BlackBerry that not only did we love in the BlackBerry news community, we loved it as a story. It made a lot of sense. BlackBerry's really driving hard in this autonomous car and connected vehicle stuff, and it's great to see. I know when these cars come out, and if I can afford them, I would definitely be looking at these cars because they got the word BlackBerry attached to them, and I think a lot of people should do so as well. But again, this one helped the stock market price go up again, and as we said earlier, it's been up since then, and it's great news. And like I said, the stock market loved it. We loved it. It was a great win for BlackBerry. Also, the BlackBerry KEYone. So if you remember when the BlackBerry KEYone first launched, there was an issue with the BlackBerry KEYone. The BlackBerry KEYone had an issue where some users were reporting that the screen was falling off of the device. Reach over, grab my KEYone. The KEYone screen would pop off. Not even after hard usage or drop or anything like that. Some people were having the issue where the screen would just pop right off or just start coming off. I had the issue myself. I remember I came home. I was coming home from somewhere, Connecticut, and I got home, was getting ready for bed, and noticed the screen on my device was kind of lifting up, and so I kind of held it down like this, and the screen started kind of falling slowly. I caught it, of course, but I did notice that issue was there. And BlackBerry said, "Hey, we know the issue. We didn't use enough adhesive on the screen, and we're going to look into our manufacture process." And eventually the problem got fixed. I haven't really heard anybody complain about this issue recently. I've one or two people maybe that I've seen in forums and such, but I just think they had older devices that just didn't see the symptoms yet. And so you remember JerryRigs over on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description. Actually, the post that I put will have his video in there. So check out his channel. I love his channel. He takes apart and puts phones through hell just to see if they're durable enough, and it's fun when he breaks the iPhones and such. But he was the one who kind of first made light of this problem. He put the KEYone through his normal durability test. So what he normally does is his most picks of hardness, where he scratches the screen and see which level it scratches at. KEYone passed there. He also did a burn test where he takes a lighter to the screen and see if the screen will recover from burning. It passed there. And then he also took the device and bent it like this. And that's where it failed. The screen popped right out, broke real easily, and got placed on his shelf of shame. BlackBerry got word of it, this issue, made their adjustments behind the scenes, and said, hey, everything's good to go. So JerryRig's actually, I think a month later or so, tried it again with a new KEYone. Issue was resolved, and he actually took apart the KEYone to figure out what he did, and apparently just dumped a ton of adhesive underneath, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. So JerryRig's had a smartphone pretty much award, on his channel, what was it called? I forget his. He had a kind of a word category. So most durable smartphone or smartphone 2017 smartphone awards, and one of the categories that he had was most improved smartphone of 2017. The BlackBerry KEYone won that award. Now I get it, JerryRig's YouTube channel, nothing. He's a big YouTuber for one. He gets a lot of views, so I think it's a big for BlackBerry, for the BlackBerry KEYone. It's great to see. He's not a BlackBerry person. BlackBerry's not his device of choice. It's not. I think he liked the KEYone. It was a great phone to him, but it's great to see someone like that give big props to the BlackBerry KEYone. Especially in 2017, 2018. BlackBerry devices still aren't as popular as they used to. Among all of us, they are, but someone in that world, he gave that award to the BlackBerry KEYone. And there could have been other devices that had them approved, but I agree with his reasoning is because BlackBerry had an issue, or BlackBerry Mobile had an issue, and quickly fixed it, turned it around, boom, here's your fix, and problem resolved. We haven't heard much about it. Like I said, one or two people I think have heard about it or read about this issue recently, but and the Motion, for that matter, the Motion hasn't been seeing that issue either. So they definitely made the adjustment there, or made sure it didn't happen there. So big thing for BlackBerry KEYone and BlackBerry Mobile. Excuse me. Also, this actually just happened recently. The BlackBerry Optiemus over in India have announced that they are launching the BlackBerry KEYone Black Edition in Bangladesh. The BlackBerry KEYone Black Edition will be launching, going on sale on January 22nd. It's going to roughly equal out to about $653 US dollars. But pretty cool event. I'll put up the post link again in the description so you can see some of the Twitter photos. Great news for those in Bangladesh, the BlackBerry KEYone. Kind of jealous because you guys are getting the Black Edition, which I still have not got my hands on yet, but I really love that Black Edition, the way it looks, especially after using the Motion, because it's a little bit darker than the Silver Edition KEYone. Definitely love that BlackBerry Black Edition. So big news for them. And let's see, Molex is collaborating with BlackBerry on the automotive network for secure and intelligent vehicles. I can't speak tonight. It's a problem with doing podcasts by yourself. You have to read everything. But yeah, so Molex and is collaborating with BlackBerry on automotive network for secure intelligence vehicles. Pretty much, they're gonna create a 10 gigabyte per second Ethernet automotive network for secure and intelligent vehicles. The network is going to be pretty much designed to increase data bandwidth and intelligent connection to vehicles. It's going to make sure that they're going to make sure it's going to be reliable, high speed data transmission. You don't want your connected car or autonomous car to be stuttering or buffering, uh, you know, as it's driving, and you know, thinking how connected these cars are. If it's going to be one of those where autonomous, where it's driving you around, you don't want it to kind of stutter of where it's going, or have a buffering of where it's going. So big news for BlackBerry again. Great little partnership. Um, the partnership or the platform is going to leverage BlackBerry QNS, SDP 7.0 RTOS software or technology. It's also going to leverage the BlackBerry Certicom managed PKI or public key infrastructure technology as well. So pretty cool thing. Also, these past few weeks, kind of getting down to the end here, BBM had some pretty cool updates recently. Now it's kind of a tricky or confusing way that BBM Tech did this. So they launched two different versions. One is a beta version for anybody is in the beta program. You got this update last Friday, and BlackBerry also announced, or not BlackBerry, BBM announced a official version for current users that aren't on the beta program. This one was announced. It's still being rolled out from what I'm being told. These features are going to be available for iOS and Android users. So we'll go over the official one first, because most people have that one now, or should be getting that one now. So in the official version of BBM, people are able to now edit their custom pin, which is great. They're also have the get the feature of the highest possible resolution for photos. So if you think back to BBM, when you send a photo, it had that request HD image. That is gone. No more request HD image. These photos are going to be sent in the highest possible resolution that photo can go. So if it was taken with a great photo or the great camera, it's going to send that at that highest resolution that it can. You also get the option to save set photos as backdrops or delete. Now, I kind of got confused with that. I think I put this in the post too, so I'll have to go back and edit that. But they give you the option to save that photo. If somebody sends you a photo, you can actually now have the option to save it, set photo as backdrop, or delete the photo. What they mean by set as backdrop, they actually mean set as a wallpaper for your phone. I was under the impression that meant that you could actually use that photo as a backdrop in your chats. So that's my fault, but my misunderstanding for that matter. But that's not true. You can only set it as your wallpaper. I was hoping that you could set it as your wallpaper for your chats in BBM, because that'd be a cool feature, right? But that's not the case. You also have the ability to comment on images and groups, which they took that away. I don't know why, and now they brought it back. You also have the ability to see timestamps, and you have more background color options. So you actually have another option for a black colored background, which is for your chats if you liked it like that. That's cool. Kind of a dark mode BBM in chats for that matter. Also, keyboard panel makeover. So they made adjustments to the keyboard panel. Bold type for new chats only. And another cool little feature that's available for iOS users or for iPhone users is they're now taking full advantage of the iOS call integration feature. That's thanks to the iOS home or calling kit. So if you have an iPhone, now when you get BBM calls or BBM voice or video calls, they're going to come through as a normal phone call. So instead of coming through as just a BBM notification, it's actually going to ring on your phone, just like a phone call or a FaceTime video would do so. Great feature. Apple kind of released this feature at the beginning of iOS 11. Developers were just getting around to it. I know companies like apps like Skype and Google Hangouts take advantage of it. And I was waiting for BBM to take advantage of it because I think, we had a little gripe about Apple earlier, but I'll give Apple their props when they do. That's a really cool feature if you're an iPhone user. Of course, it tells you that it's a BBM call or a BBM video call, but it looks just like a phone call now. And I think this is great for BBM users using iPhones because instead of people just assuming that you're getting a FaceTime or phone call now, they're like, no, I'm getting a BBM video call or BBM voice call. So no, I don't do that FaceTime stuff. Get out of here. I do BBM. So it's a pretty cool feature. Now, for those who are lucky enough to be a part of the beta program, these are the cool features that you got. These features will be available, from what I've been told by BBM, in a month or so. So hang tight if you haven't gotten these features yet. If you're not in the beta, hang tight. They're coming. Just still being tested. Actually, we just got a second BBM update, so that means that they found some issues and updated a few things. But so new features in the beta version. Of course, the big news in this one is they're bringing back the classic BBM emojis, which is great. A lot of people complained that they didn't like the newer emojis, that I thought they looked ugly too. So now they're bringing back the original ones, and they've said they're not touching those. They've heard the outcry, which is cool. Another cool feature is you can now send voice notes in groups if you like doing so. I'm not a big fan of voice notes in groups per se. They're okay in one-on-one chats. I can see them being useful there, but in groups, why not just do a Skype call or BBM video call or something like that? But but a lot of people like them. It's a big feature for a lot. You can also make your timeline public. So this is starting to become, what they're kind of making this more so is a social network, not just a messaging app. They're also making, BBM a social network concept. So you have a timeline. It's kind of like your status, and if you go into BBM, and if you hit your profile or the Me tab, that'll bring up your status bar. Now you can start, putting in, status updates about your day, and that's part of your timeline. So now you can make that timeline public if you want to do so. You're not forced to do so, which is fine. Also, improved join group flow. So when you get requested, when you get a request to join a group, that flow or that interaction with accepting or declining, it's a lot simpler, a lot more improved. I actually experienced this the other day. I get a group invite from somebody, and the flow just seemed a lot better. So big props there. You can now send pictures and videos as files. So when you send a photo or video, you have an option to, when you hit the plus sign, you have an option to send media, and you also have option to send files. Before, you couldn't. If you hit files, it couldn't be a photo, it couldn't be a video, it could only be like a document for that matter. Now you can do it. Now you can send a photo as a file. This is just in one-on-one chats though, so if you're in a group chat, it won't work. Also, there's improvements to the location permission flow. So if a application or a third-party service inside BBM wants access to your location, the permission flow is going to be a lot simpler. There's also better deep link directly to BBM QR code scanners. The QR code scanner, I feel what they're doing with this, or they're getting ready to do with this, is take more advantage of the QR code scanning abilities of BBM, which back in the day, BlackBerry was starting to go down that route, especially with NFC and such. But they kind of teetered off with BBM, and they stopped going down that route. So it's kind of good to see that BBM Tech is taking advantage of that concept, and let's see where they go with that. So those are the new update features inside the beta. And previously they were the ones for the official version. So if you don't have the beta yet, that's because you're probably not part of the beta program, or you just haven't checked your updates tab in Google Play. The beta is only available on Android, I believe, not iOS. The thought I had scratching the door. The public features should be available to you soon. If not there yet, don't panic. They're coming. Some of the iOS people have not seen these updates yet. We just actually got an update for iOS last week, so I'm kind of curious. I believe some of those features that I just mentioned were in that update for iOS, so you might actually have those features already. All right, so let's get to the news that we heard out of CES this week. How are we doing on time here? It is 10:19, so we're looking good here. So first things first is what we're celebrating tonight is BlackBerry Mobile announced that are launching the GSM unlocked version of the BlackBerry Mobile or BlackBerry Motion in the US starting January 12th. So folks who are looking to pick up the BlackBerry Motion in the US can do so by purchasing an unlocked version or GSM version. The cost of the device is $449.99, so $450, which is pretty good price tag for that device. And it's launching tomorrow via Amazon and Best Buy. So I believe they're going to be online first, and then I'm sure Best Buy stores will start getting those devices. No word yet on CDMA devices. I don't think you should panic. I think they're waiting for somebody else to announce that they have a CDMA version, someone like Sprint or a carrier agreement or carrier announcement before they announce the CDMA. And you also kind of notice that the next thing that we talk about also excludes CDMA unlocks as well. So what that next thing is, for those folks in Canada, you can now purchase a GSM unlocked version of the BlackBerry Motion as well. That cost for that device, you're looking at $599.99 Canadian dollars. So pretty good deal for that. So if you notice, both those announcements neglected the CDMA version. So I feel either it's the same reason for both, because in Canada there's carriers that have the Motion that are CDMA, but they are not allowed to purchase unlocked CDMA versions yet either. So I don't know if they're waiting just to get the GSM devices out of the way first and then get the CDMA devices out, or if they're waiting on something. I feel both regions will see them announced eventually. I'm sure in the next few months, definitely by the end of 2018. Also, the BlackBerry KEYone, BlackBerry Mobile also announced that the BlackBerry KEYone will be launched in a bronze edition, which is coming to select markets in Asia, Europe, and Middle East. Pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of the bronze color. It looks cool, I guess. Not a device I would carry, but a really cool feature of part of this. It's got dual SIM technology. It's got 64 gigs of internal memory, and it also has the 4 gigs of RAM. So it's pretty much the special edition, just in bronze. That's your color. Go for it. Buy it. It's well worth it. I'm interested to see if they just keep that device for Asia, Europe, and Middle East, or if they let that thing make its way to other regions. I kind of feel it's going to stick in those regions, but you never know. And last but not least, the BlackBerry Mobile also announced that they will be releasing 2 smartphones in 2018. So they didn't announce what they're announcing or releasing or when or what the price will be or anything like that. But they did announce that there's 2 phones coming. Now, I'm going to kind of go out on a limb, and if you're a betting person, you're pretty safe to bet that there's going to be an update to the KEYone. And I'm probably going to assume that there's going to be an update to the Motion. There also could be an update to this guy, to the Priv. I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think it's the most likely concept, but it's a possible concept. You could also see, there on Geekbench there is the KEYone like device floating around out there with 6 gigs of RAM and 660 Snapdragon 660 processor in it. So, I know a lot of people out there want to spec out BlackBerry KEYone or BlackBerry device. I think there's a limit to where BlackBerry Mobile or TCL or any of these companies are going to go with a spec'd out device. I don't think you're going to see the most impressive processor, or the RAM is fine. You'll probably see a good amount of RAM in some devices, but I think that the processors will kind of stay in the low section, or as low as they can go with it being a high-end processor, because I think that they would be very cautious or very worried about losing that battery life that these devices have now become known for. And if you go a higher processor, you run the risk of losing out on that battery life, possibly, unless they figure out a way to get that battery life to be the same as it is on the KEYone or Motion with high-end processors. So I think that we'll see a high spec-ish device, possibly. We've heard from TCL and BlackBerry Mobile that they don't want to compete with Samsung and Apple, but I think it comes a time when they are gonna want to, or kind of test the waters a little bit. Maybe these devices were that test, and they got good enough traction that they're like, okay, let's go further with this. Or maybe they go on a different design and they go priv wise or priv design, or you know, there's a lot of people who love the priv that were disappointed that the priv is not getting the software updates, is not getting updated to nougat, or didn't get updated to nougat. So they might have noticed that and said, hey, let's see what we can do with the priv form factor. Let's see how we can make it better. Let's see what we can do to bring it up to speed. I mean, they're smartphones, so we're not going to see any type of, at least from TCL or BlackBerry Mobile, you won't see a tablet. I don't think you won't see a playbook, uh, come through, or playbook like the tablet. Maybe you'll see a bigger screen device. The Motion's a pretty big screen device, but maybe they go a little bit bigger screen. Speculations are there. Have at him. I think we see something announced at Mobile World Congress, and I think we see something announced later in the year. Just like same time frame that the Motion and the KEYones were kind of announced. I think they stick to that. They haven't said anything about or showed off anything or teased anything at CES. So Mobile World Congress is a month away. So I don't know if that means we won't see anything at Mobile World Congress, but what else? They could have their own event. That's something I would love for them to do. Have their own kind of launch event or own time or space to announce this device or these devices. So maybe they announce them both at the same time. Who knows? Maybe they pull a BlackBerry 10 launch concept, and here's a keyboard, here's a touchscreen. But speculations are there. It's fun time to speculate, but BlackBerry Mobile is very excited to see how the KEYone has done. Andy Corton over in the chat announced that, stated that, he thinks the BlackBerry is going strong since the KEYone was launched. The KEYone is definitely going strong. BlackBerry, the company, is going strong. BlackBerry Mobile is going strong. I hear Aurora is selling well. These devices are selling well, and if you think these devices are going to be a 1 year and done, you're crazy. But it's going to be exciting to see what's coming out of TCL and BlackBerry Mobile and BBM Updates and Optiemus, that they just announced the KEYone coming to Bangladesh. But I would think that they're going to come out with a device of their own. The KEYone was kind of a joint concept between them and TCL. So I would hope that we would see something come from them on their own, or a design idea on their own. Be interested to see. A lot of these devices, keyboard devices, you kind of only go with one design or kind of one direction, unless you kind of mix it up like the Priv or the Passport. We probably won't see a Passport device unless Google updates their screen resolution requirements. But yeah, so that's this week's topic list, or this week's episode of the Bear Report podcast hour, which we haven't been doing so lately. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you guys are watching live, make sure you tune into the BlackBerry Motion US launch Eve event that's coming up in about 30 more minutes after the show ends. And we will, pretty much what that show is going to be is just going to be me talking the Motion, talking how much I love the Motion or what I think of the Motion, and we'll talk right into the midnight and see where this device takes. So thank you guys for tuning in. For those listening to us on their podcast apps, thank you guys for listening. If you guys have not subscribed to this channel, to the BerryReporter.com channel, go ahead and do so. There should be a button right underneath my face that says subscribe. It's big red. Actually, there should be the logo for Bear Reporter in the corner of this video. Right, probably right about there. Or might be up here, actually. Which way? There. And that button, if you hit that, that'll subscribe you to our channel. That's actually a new feature that we rolled out inside our YouTube channel. So hit that button. It's quick and easy. You get notified every time I post something for the channel, every time we go live for the show. So it's a great little way of finding out what we're doing next, or see where we're going to be live. So until then, until next week, thank you for tuning in. BlackBerry Brad, out.